Good day guys, today I want to speak to you about the automatic fan on the Golf Mk1, which sometimes doesn't switch on when it's supposed to, and sometimes it doesn't even go on at all. So in this segment I just want to give you a few tips as to see what you can check to remedy the situation. Firstly, you would go to your what is called as the thermo switch. The thermo switch is this part here which screws into the radiator, and then it is attached by this connection here. So make sure that that connection is secure and that your wiring is also secure. That's a close-up view of a thermo switch. And next you will check this power connection here which goes into the fan. Make sure that this is connected properly. There are no loose wirings. And then you will move on to the actual fuses, which is situated at the bottom of the dashboard. And I just want to show you how to find the actual fuse number. You will see there it's radiator fan is number 1, so you would then go to that fuse and check it. I will show you now under the dashboard. Okay, so the fuse is here under the dash. As I said, you can see I'm going to lift the camera up there. That is where your fuse box is situated, and there you can go to number 1 and check if that fuse is okay. If not okay, replace it. Now after you've gone and done all those checks, and by the process of elimination to try and find out what the cause is of your fan not going on, it could be that your thermal switch needs to be replaced, because just to give you an idea, the Golf temperature gauge normally, when it comes to about there and a little bit further, sometimes the fan goes on and it cools it down and it sort of brings it down back to the middle again. Some cars I've noticed that goes on a little bit before it gets to the light, but that is generally how the temperature gauge should react when the car is hot. But if it's a case of the gauge going too far over there and then the fan switch only comes on, then you may have a problem, and it may mean that you need to replace that switch. Okay, so if you do need to replace your thermal switch, all that needs to be done is disconnect this from here, and then this simply screws out, and a new one you would simply just screw back in. Now just a word of caution: when you purchase a thermal switch, make sure you purchase a good quality one. Don't purchase cheap quality. This is a very important part. I have heard people go on about the thermal switch that comes from the Peugeot. They say a Peugeot switch is good and all that. I've personally experienced the Peugeot switch, and I found out that the Peugeot switch, it goes on too soon. It keeps your car cool, but it also doesn't allow your car to reach the correct temperature that it needs to operate at its best. So for me, the Peugeot switch is not really a good idea, in my personal opinion. And also another thing, what it does is the Peugeot switch will make that your battery takes a lot of strain, because the fan goes on so many times when you're sitting in traffic. It actually becomes irritating. So that is my personal view on it. Rather get a proper VW part or a quality part to be safe. Okay, another thing that needs to be taken into consideration is the thermostat, which is situated here inside the water pump. And if that is faulty, if that is blocked, then you can also have problems with your radiator fan not going on, because the thermal switch is not reading it, because there's not water coming through this pipe into the radiator. But I don't want to speak too much on the thermostat, because I want to make another video on that. I'll have another segment on that, discussing that in more detail. Okay guys, so that's just a few tips for you to ponder on, for you to just carry out with regards to your fan that's not coming on, and I hope it helped you.